On today's episode of Home Media Minefield, I'm going to be looking at the Blu-ray edition of Judge Dredd coming up. Hello, I'm Keith and welcome to Home Media Minefield, helping you with information to navigate the complexities of home cinema and home media entertainment. And as I said, in today's show, I am going to be looking at the 1995 film Judge Dredd, starring Sylvester Stallone, based on the comic book character. Now, this is one of those retro reviews that I am doing upon request because I recently reviewed Dredd, starring Carl Urban, that coincided with a live stream that I was involved in with the Mr. Brown Alliance, where we discussed that particular film in some depth. What came out of that was a request to look at the 1995 Sylvester Stallone adaptation directed by Danny Cannon for a live stream that's going to be on this channel tonight at 8 p.m. and will be available as a video on this channel should you miss the live stream. More on this later. First, for some release information, and Judge Dredd has been released on home physical media a number of times over the years. And I remember first owning it on DVD when it came out in the early 2000s. Now, it pretty much got a global release on DVD with more or less the same extras regardless of where you bought it. But many of the DVD transfers were non-anamorphic, and really the only differences between the areas were based on the cover artwork. Interestingly, here in the UK, the artwork just had the Judge Dredd badge. Much of the European artwork had the publicity shot of Judge Dredd wearing his helmet. But for the US market, the cover prominently featured Sylvester Stallone without the helmet firing a lawgiver. Now, there's always been some controversy about that regarding this film, which I'm sure we will touch on at some point in the live stream. Now, with regards to Blu-ray, this film has only been released in North America, France and Germany. There hasn't even been a release on Blu-ray here in the UK where I'm based. Now, the film is available to rent on streaming services such as Amazon Prime, but the Blu-rays that are available out there are region free, so will play anywhere on a Blu-ray player. Now, I got the North American Buena Vista Pictures release, which came out a few years ago to coincide with Lionsgate's release of Dredd. So it's this particular release that I'm going to be talking about today. So first of all, onto the picture quality. And as I'd already mentioned, many of the DVD releases presented this film in a non-anamorphic presentation. Obviously, this 1080p high def version is in its full 235:1 aspect ratio. Now, having watched it, the picture clarity is very good here, and it doesn't look like there's been any digital noise reduction or any major treatment done to this. Now, this film looks good. Most of that down to the director of photography, Adrian Biddle, who did other films like Aliens, for example. So this would have been shot on film. As a result, there are some scenes where you notice some film grain, but this film is very colourful, with lots of contrast from the dark and gloomy megacity one through to the deserts of the cursed earth. So picture clarity is good. It's nice to see it in high def. Now, Disney, who are the parent company of this, haven't really invested too heavy in home media releases, obviously favouring their streaming service. Therefore, I'd be very surprised if a back catalogue release like this gets a 4K UHD treatment anytime soon. So this Blu-ray, even though it's been out some years, is probably the best version that you're going to get of this on physical media. Okay, onto the audio, and this has a DTS 5.1 audio mix, which is, as the film is, quite over the top. It's loud, the separation is good, the gunfire has lots of bass added to it, and you can hear the dialogue just fine as well. Alan Silvestri's score does get a little bit lost in places hidden by explosions and sound design, but that's not any fault of this mix, that is just the way that the film was. I played this pretty loud when I listened to it and got into the spirit of it. Now onto the special features. When this came out on DVD, it was never a particularly heavily laden film for bonus content, and I'm afraid to say that that is the same with the Blu-ray release. On this particular Blu-ray, you get the same special features as there was on the DVD release, minus some of the text-based content like key cast and crew biographies and filmographies. I guess the thinking here is it's easier just to look those things up online nowadays. So what you do get here is you get a 20-minute making of featurette called Stallone's Law, the making of Judge Dredd. Now this is one of those featurettes. It was made in '95 when the film came out, and it is hosted by Sylvester Stallone himself. He promotes the movie, talks about what it is, and does actually mention its comic origins, even though many feel that this film largely ignored it. This is actually interspersed with cast and crew interviews and some behind the scenes footage. You get to hear from all the main cast, and you get to hear from the director Danny Cannon. Now even though this is brief and of its time, the content here is actually quite good. There is quite a lot of behind the scenes footage. You see some of the effects work, and one has to remember that this film was largely done through practical sets, miniatures, on-set pyrotechnics and stunt work. And certainly watching this featurette does make you appreciate the craft that went into this film, even if, of course, it is certainly ripe for criticism. Now, at just 20 minutes, this doesn't go into a lot of detail, but it's nice that Disney at least took this from the archives and included it on the disc. Other than that, you just get the theatrical trailer, which actually features some unused score that was originally composed by Jerry Goldsmith. Again, it's good that this is included, but that's literally all there is on this. Now, the Warner Brothers French release does include an additional featurette, which is about 10 minutes long, called From Comic to Film, which is a shame it's not included on this. And in addition to that, the German release actually also includes a 25-minute German making of featurette with subtitles. Again, I've not seen any of these bonus features, but if you're buying a Blu-ray and you don't mind subtitles, etc., it might be worth going for one of those instead. I guess it really depends on how much of a fan of this film you are. So that's basically it, a rather brief one today. That's my conclusion for the US Blu-ray release of Judge Dredd. I have to say the artwork and actual packaging on this release is not all that great, but as far as the content goes, for the picture I am going to give this a 3 out of 5. The film looks pretty good in high def. It picks out a lot of the quality of the production design, costume design, etc., even if the visual effects don't always hold up. And you can certainly see some matte lines on the composite shots and any green screen work. So it's not a perfect picture that hasn't been tampered with. There is some grain, there isn't any digital noise reduction, so it is a true representation of what the film was at the time. Sure, could it be better with a proper restoration and remastering into a 4K UHD with high dynamic range? Probably can, but I'm not expecting that to happen. But I think 3 out of 5 is a fair score for this. For the audio, I'm also going to give this a 3 out of 5. It's bombastic, it's a decent DTS 5.1 track. Again, it's taken from the same mix that the original DVD was produced in. It's great for an action movie soundtrack, and again, it's really unlikely that an object-based DTS-X or Dolby Atmos track is ever going to be produced for this. When it comes on to the special features, I can only really give this a 2 out of 5. The 1995 vintage making of featurette does have some decent interviews and information in there, but again, it's far too short. and nothing new has been done for this Blu-ray release. You just get the theatrical trailer. Okay, it's not completely vanilla, but there's no new retrospectives or anything additional. Again, if you do want more in terms of bonus material, it might be worth looking at the French or German releases. So that gives this a total score of 8 out of a possible 15. Would I have actually bought this if I hadn't been asked to do a review on it? Possibly not. I did have it on DVD in the first place, to be fair. But the Blu-ray release of this is much the same as the film. It's okay, but it's pretty average. But hey, I'm here just to review the disc, not to give my opinions on anything else. However, if you are interested in my opinion on this film and Judge Dredd in general, then please do check out our live stream. There will be a link down below to that. And if you're able to actually come online and watch it live tonight at 8 PM and want to have your say about this film, because I know there are a lot of opinions out there about this film, please get involved in the live chat and I will get to as many comments as I possibly can. Obviously, if you're finding this video after the fact, that live stream will be available as a video on this channel and you can still add comments there. So that brings me to the end of another home media minefield. If you found this information at all interesting or helpful, then please do give this video a like with that thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel and hit the bell notification so that you don't miss anything moving forward. I review physical media weekly, as well as product unboxings, live streams, podcasts, all sorts of things, film and TV related. Now, if you've got any questions or comments, or if there is anything in particular that you'd like me to review, then please do put that down in the comments below. As I said, this whole video came out of a request for that, and I'll add it to the list and see if I can get to it eventually. And please do follow and spread the word on social media. It all helps. Now, I will put some links below as to where you can find this. As I mentioned, it is a region-free Blu-ray in this case. So if you wanted to play it wherever you're watching, there's a really great chance that this disc will play. And on that note, I thank you for your time and I will speak to you at the next Home Media Minefield. Bye for now.